how metadata works with view definitions. I want to look at one of the ways in which the system can be configured. We've got the ability to create our own views. We saw that just in a previous exercise. So I'm going to go into where we've got as a system administrator, into administration. Going to go into now customization and look down at company. So I can see that this is where the views are being built. 3 types of views contained in this area. You've got user views, system views, and core views. User views are ones which are completely underneath your control. You can change those in any way that you need. And then you have system views, which are defined by default, and you could edit them, but you're strongly advised to be very careful about them. And then you have core views, which cannot be edited at all. So although I said system views are whatever you can do, so if you're going to create your own reporting or own groups, I strongly recommend you wanting to do that. So for example, if I go to another bit of customization that I did earlier on, I go into customization and I'm going to go into the person area. Now the reason why I might want to do this is that, of course, underneath my CRM, I may want to go in and work with new groups of information. It's very important. The idea of being able to segment your database in a particular way, so you can then send the right messages to them, or you might want to send these across as into MailChimp to use for marketing. Well, in my case, I have created a view. And we can see there's this view, VJEF test person view, which is actually joining the marketing table with the person, one of the person views, vPerson PE. Now, in this case, defining the view in this way, we can see that I can make a group, make it available for groups. And if I start the process of the creation of a new group, we can see that the views that we have created are known about, and as I go and choose person, I can choose from my custom views as well. So it's expected that you should be creating your new views. You should be able to work with these in any way that you like. That's especially important when you're creating structures like reports and groups. But what if you want to take an existing view that's perhaps used as the basis of the find screen? So when you find a company, what's the view that's being used there? Or you're using mail merge and starting to create here merge to a PDF, and what's the underlying view used there? Is the right information contained? Well, this is where, again, I'll think about the person context, there would be the option to change certain views. But you'll notice that the mail merge view, which is used for the basis of the of any mail merge generation of a letter or either a PDF file or a Word file, is actually listed here as a system view. You could theoretically change it. So you can change a system view. So where's my mail merge? My mail merge is here, my mail merge view. So we have a change button, but it tells us that we're about to enter a system view, and making changes to a system view is not recommended, as it can adversely affect the system behavior. This is because as we're adding new columns, system views tend to be the ones that CRM is expecting to use, and if you change it, then you might break some functionality. But in reality, you do have to change certain views. And I've mentioned here the vMail merge view, but you might also want to change the view that is used for all of the mail merge features of Sage CRM. But that's not the most exciting thing that I wanted to talk about in this section. In this session, I want to think about what we can do with a view. This is because views, like our views that we were looking at here, we can see that in vMail merge we're starting to make use of derived information. So if I just pick up that view script and drop that into text editor, you can see here that we're deriving information and we're making use of an aliased column. So we've got our idea of the email can carry out the concatenations of information, and then we've got our email fax number, and the same thing for the phone number and for the email for the main phone number as well. Now, views allow us to carry out this type of behavior. We can concatenate data, we can carry out calculations, we can perform evaluations on date ranges. You can see a very simple example here. Now, knowing that it's possible to derive information within a view, and you can see that the derived information is used, how then is it used? Well, what I'd like to do is consider Kylie Ward here and look at the cases screen. What we can see is, as I'm looking at cases as the user Kylie Ward, I'm looking down and I can see the SLA status column, and these have all got graphical forms associated with them. Now, working backwards, from what you know already, you know that this is a list definition. So as the system administrator, I can go into customization, and I can go into looking at cases. I can look at the lists and on the naming conventions that are being used. If it hangs from the tab, then we know it's a list. So if I look at my case list, we can see that we've got the SLA status column being used. All of screens and all of lists are based on an underlying view connected to a data structure, and we can see that this is pulling in the information from our case list structure. So this is potentially a column that's in here, but we also know that it's being changed to show select as GIF, and that means it's looking down into the one of the folders within inside the install to know that it has to swap the value that's returned into a image with the same name. So here inside the main interface, if Kylie Ward is looking at this and is saying it says red, well, it's actually looking at an image called red, and we can look at the idea of the image in a new tab, and we can see that path. So it's converted the value of red into the image. How to set that up is another topic, but here we've got our SLA status. That if I cancel from here and follow this back, it might be reasonable to assume that there is a field called case color, because we saw it included in the list. And in fact, we see that we've got our case color mentioned here, and it's defined as a selection list because it matches up with that ability to define the selection as a GIF. Now, if I look in the actual database and look for the field select star from cases, there won't be any instance within the physical table case color. So if I look for case color, which was the name of the field, it doesn't exist. But if I look at the view, I look for list cases and look through here, we can see that there is a column inside the view. So this must be derived, and we go now into our views, and the view that is sitting underneath the definition of this list, we can see contains a derived column. And if I drop this into my text editor so it looks a little bit easier to see, we can see the key thing here is that we have got a case statement being used to define for us the field case color. So what this is doing in the definition is allowing us to see an image which is reflected as a select as GIF, understanding that this is flowing from an expression within the view. So we can see there is the case list is underneath, is using the vlist cases view, and we can see the case statement, which evaluates whether green, amber, or red is returned. Then we get that sense that case color doesn't exist in the database. It's an entirely derived alias. Now, this is really telling us that there is a conspiracy here within metadata. Metadata is taking data that doesn't exist, but it can be derived, and is creating it in a way that is real and sort of substantive. So we could include it in the list, even though it didn't really exist in the table, and we can find ourselves putting attributes to it, like being a select field and changing its caption because it has an existence in metadata. And if I now look at select star from custom edits, we will be able to find the definition of our field. Col name is going to be case underscore color. So I've typed in there select star from custom edits, where col name equals case color, and we can see that this is defined. It's the presence of this record here as a custom edit which gets it to be treated underneath this area, underneath the fields area of the screen. So this is a very profound way in which the metadata has actually made the data behave in a particular way. And that gives us a sense that we could either do something similar, or we could expect that metadata is being used in a similar way elsewhere within the system.